Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Chiranjit Mishra and today I'm going to present the news today for June 9th. There are 5 main news, 8 quick updates and 1 place in the news, which is Armenia. So let's quickly go through the headlines first. The first main news is about India's free trade agreements. Then report on data sets for SFCs, that is State Finance Commissions. Next, SIPRI report about the military expenditure of the globe and of different countries and where does India stand. Then the fourth one is very interesting. It's hidden digital divide in India. Although internet penetration has been very high in India, but there are certain divides or skewness or unevenness. We'll get to know what. Then Pradhan Mantri Surakshit Matritva Abhiyan has completed 10 years. It was launched in 2016 to provide antenatal care to pregnant women. Next quick updates. First is India eyes on Bloomberg Bond Index entry so that it can become an attractive destination for foreign investments. Next, President of India confers gallantry awards for bravery. US court strikes down H-1B fee, which was imposed by the Trump administration, but the US federal court found it was not in agreement with that provision. Next, 3 states have been asked to revive Yamuna, and the 3 states are Haryana, Delhi and Uttar Pradesh. Delhi is a UT, of course. Zojila tunnel boosts strategic connectivity, which is going to connect Ladakh to Jammu and Kashmir. It is going to open for public in 2028 and we are inching towards the completion of the project. Next, Kabil, the Khanij Bidesh India Limited, it has secured 5 lithium blocks in Argentina, which is very good for India's supply chain as regards lithium, which is the backbone of electric vehicles and battery energy storage systems. Next, Ayushman Bharat, which has achieved nationwide coverage. And the last news is about Gyan Bharatam maps or Gyan Bharatam mission, which has already mapped 1 crore manuscripts. Okay, and the place in the news is Armenia. So let's start with the first main news, which is India's free trade agreements, which on the face of it is good for India's economy. Okay, it makes sure that India in terms of trade is one of the major global players, but there are certain reasons for India to be worried or concerned. Okay, and what are they? So far India has signed nearly, just for your information, 15 FTAs, free trade agreements, and with 27 countries. Okay, as you know, the TIPA with EFTA, it consisted of 4 countries and there are other agreements also. That is why the number of FTAs, although it's small, countries covered is close to 27, which is good for India. Okay, but what are the problems and what are free trade agreements? Before that we need to know. Free trade agreements means an agreement between 2 countries on either side or more than that. They decide that trade barriers have to be lowered for free movement of goods and services. Okay, now that means it's going to benefit both the countries, but in India's case, other countries have benefited, Indian exporters have not benefited that much. Indian exporters have not benefited that much. Okay, have not benefited, and the reason is, well, the reasons are several. That is what this article covers, starting with inverted duty structure. That means your export will be competitive when the production cost is low, and for production you need raw materials. Sometimes raw materials are imported. Okay, and when inverted duty structure means the raw materials are sold or taxed at a higher price than finished goods. So if an exporter is importing raw materials from abroad, the production cost will rise, and its products that it sells in the global market will become less competitive. Another major reason is Indian exporters, some MSME sector exporters, not importers, exporters, they find the compliance cost very high. Now, if an FTA is signed between 2 countries, the exporters of both the nations or all the stakeholders, they have to follow certain rules and regulations, and that means you have to adhere to certain rules and regulations. That is called compliance. The compliance cost rises. So that discourages many exporters to go for that, and they trade bypassing the FTAs. Okay, so let's quickly go through what are the challenges and is India really performing entirely badly, or there are certain regions with which India has a trade surplus? Just like South Asian countries, India has done well, but with Southeast Asian countries we need to be more concerned because they are having trade surplus or India is having trade deficit. So India has 15 FTAs, 27 countries covered, trade deficit exceeded $50 billion. Okay. As regards FTA, that doesn't cover US or China. Please remember, we do not have any FTA with these two countries, although the trade volumes are very high. So with this trade deficit is with respect to those countries with which India has FTA. The net trade deficit is this: deficit with UAE, Australia and Mauritius. You know, we import a lot of things from these countries, from Australia, coal, other minerals, UAE, petroleum. And we also export, but our export value is much less than our import value. So trade deficit TD is equal to import minus export. When import value is higher than export, you get trade deficit. Trade deficit with EFTA countries. So EFTA countries, 4 countries are there. Switzerland, Liechtenstein. Okay, these are the 2 important countries. Iceland is also one of them. ASEAN deficit nearly 62 billion. Can you imagine? ASEAN. So you can say 50 billion here and 62. How is it possible? This is the net deficit. The net deficit. Here we are talking about ASEAN countries. Okay, the 10 countries of Southeast Asia. Challenges related to FTAs क्या है? India reduces high import duties. India reduces high import duties. Sometimes what happens? See, other countries, they have lowered their duties, but India is yet to do that. Okay, India is yet to do that. Foreign goods become cheaper domestically. So what happens now, because other countries have lowered their import duties, they can easily access market in India. So their goods are available at a very cheap cost and they compete with Indian goods. Okay, you understood? Now we are consumers, we are wise, intelligent consumers. We'll go for those goods which are having low prices or which are taxed at a lower level. Indian exporters gain limited advantage. As I said, it has been skewed. Not all the Indian exporters, they have been able to make the most of FTAs. Only the bigger players. The smaller players cannot bear the compliance cost. Okay, free trade agreement ke tahat, if you want to trade, you have to follow certain rules and regulations, and that is called compliance. And there are many fees while applying for different licenses. So that cost is so high that many countries, they bypass the FTA. Low utilization of FTA preferences. Both are same related. Only 20 to 30% exports utilize FTAs, as I said. Very low level. Additionally, inverted duty structure, which makes Indian exports less competitive because the raw materials are taxed at a higher rate. Next way forward, क्या हो सकता है to make the most of FTA? Rationalize tariffs on industrial inputs. Okay, tariffs have to be rationalized. Reduce inverted duty structure. India has complained also several times, and India has been very cautious. Okay, because if raw materials, they have set at a higher price, so it's better to avoid that. So domestic production has been promoted, encouraging domestic production, so that raw materials can be procured domestically. Strengthen domestic supply chains, both are related. And simplify rules of origin, so that we get to know who is exporting and who is importing. Some countries, without being part of FTAs, they can redirect their goods and they can use FTA based countries to export to India. But I hope you understood, if there are 3 countries, A, B and I is India, and A and India have an FTA, but B doesn't have any FTA with India. So B will try to take advantage of the FTA by supplying goods to A, or by pretending that A is supplying the ultimate goods to India, but it's being supplied by B. So I hope you understood. FTAs are good, but we need to take advantage of the FTAs. That is the moral of the story. Next, report on datasets for state finance commissions released. So how data and state finance commissions are related? State finance commissions are constitutional bodies, okay, and they have been mandated under Article 243I. Okay, they have to be there, SFCs, and SFCs can direct the state governments or guide the state governments how to devolve funds from the state level to the grassroots level. That means urban local bodies and PRIs, Panchayati Raj institutions. इनको कैसा पैसा देना है? Just like we have a Central Finance Commission or the Finance Commission under Article 280. That can also advise the states, but that is not its primary purpose. It decides how the center is going to give money to the states, or the grants, tax devolution and all that. Okay. Here under Article 243I we have state finance commissions. The major problem is that many states do not have state finance commissions. Okay, understood. And those states which already have state finance commissions, they are also not functioning very capably. The reason is, what is the ultimate purpose of having state finance commissions? Transferring money from the state level to the grassroots level. Now how are you going to transfer money? Blindly. You are not going to throw money here and there. First you need to have proper plan. Which district requires money for which purpose? Okay. And that can only be decided when you have data. Data means education related data. Okay. Drinking water related data. You need to have data. And data collection is a problem. That is why state finance commissions get confused. Okay, how do we need to efficiently use money? Only then state finance commissions will be praised, and the state government will feel encouraged to give more and more money. Okay, so everything is data based. Without data you cannot plan. So that is what the news is all about. It was covered in PIB. Stronger data, stronger local bodies, and ultimately stronger India. So report on data sets for state finance commissions released. As I said, state finance commissions are mandated under Article 243(1). It's a mandatory provision, just like state election commissions. Although state election commissions are there, many states are not setting up state finance commissions. That is why the 15th Central Finance Commission said that the performance of the states can be judged on the basis of whether or not they have set up state finance commissions and whether or not the state finance commissions are effective. If that is not the case, then center should not devolve funds to that particular state. It can be penalized. Why? Because your state does not have a state finance commission. And this was cited in the Central Finance Commission's report, 15th one. Recommends state level local revenue distribution, supports fiscal decentralization, strengthens grassroots governance. The keywords you need to memorize, nothing to understand. Data fragmentation across departments. Okay, state level में बहुत सारे departments होते हैं. Okay, starting from agriculture, women and children welfare, social justice. Okay, now the data collection is separate. Sometimes they don't follow uniform standards. Okay, for example, I would say in one district, education is mentioned as one head. In another district, it's like mass education and higher education. That means they are not following the same rules. They have different columns for gathering data. Simple logic. No holistic local body assessment. There is no proper assessment also. First you need to have develop a standard, and then you can suggest the local bodies to follow that standard. Lack of panchayat level data. Poor sector wise expenditure tracking. So these are the major problems with data collection and ensuring that data is properly collected. If you don't track the expenditure, that also can amount to siphoning money or corruption. Key recommendations. What are the key recommendations? Key recommendations by a body which is called National Economic Research Policy Research Body. Okay, National Economic Council, National Economic Policy Research Body. So CAG audit of 73rd Amendment. Evaluate actual local devolution. Continuously update financial data sets, and that update can be on the basis of a new policy or new rules set by the state government or the central government. It's better if the state can also have an overarching law, because local governance falls under, local governance is a state subject. The center can also make an overarching law, although it's a state subject, if two or more states approach the center. But the states will be bound by the central law, and the central law cannot be detailed. That is why a uniform law has to be maintained at the state level. And we can draw good practices from states like Andhra Pradesh, Rajasthan, who have really done when it comes to Panchayati Raj institutions. Okay, social auditing. Introduce uniform accounting heads. Classify Panchayat Advancement Index metrics properly. Okay, categorize needs, performance, equity. So these are the suggestion. That means proper classification of the expenditure heads. किस किस खाते में अब जा रहा है पैसा. Okay. Uniformity. If one district is following this rule, all the districts in that state should also follow that rule. Only then the state can easily locate that these are the problems which are of universal nature or local nature. Coming to the question was asked in the mains exam. Now mains is approaching. States in India seem reluctant to empower urban local bodies both functionally as well as financially. Comment. You don't have to critically analyze, you just have to comment. Okay, so how will you start? You can start with the definition that the laws that were enacted in the shape of 73rd and 74th amendment. Just briefly, we don't have time. Okay, they were steps in the right direction, but your but will start. If it's a 10 marker question, you should not write a very elaborate introduction. Okay, so what are the challenges? The 3 F's. Okay, you can focus on 3 F's: funds, functionaries and functions. I hope now you can get the direction. And one point you can mention, that many states do not have state finance commissions which guide state governments as to how to transmit money to the grassroots level. And even though they don't have uniform standards, so planning suffers. Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, or SIPRI Yearbook 2026. SIPRI releases report annually, sometimes biannually also, I guess. The last was in 2024. Yeah. So this is data. The data is 2025's, released this year. It tracks how countries are spending under military heads and what is the status of their nuclear stockpile. Okay, as per SIPRI, there are 9 nuclear powers, the 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council, as you know, US, UK, France, Russia, China, and apart from these 5, you have 4 more. So India, Pakistan, North Korea and Israel. These are the 9 nuclear powers. The majority of the stockpiles are with US and Russia. Okay, next comes China, very less. 90% of the nuclear stockpiles are with USA and Russia together. Russia is ahead of USA, and then China, India, Pakistan very close. Say no country can truly or exactly reveal its nuclear stockpiles. So this is a rough estimate, and on the basis of the rough estimate, we can say these are the 9 nuclear powers. So let's take a look at the facts and figures as mentioned in the report. Global warheads stood at 12,187. That means nuclear power, bombs or whatever that can be placed in missiles and dropped. 12,187 nuclear warheads. Okay, and of that, more than 90%, you can say 10,800. More than that belong to Russia and USA. Okay, US are the largest military spender, nearly 950 billion it spends annually, and India is the 5th largest military spender, but it's less than 1/10 of what the USA does. It's close to $90 billion. Okay, India possesses 190 warheads, China 620, Pakistan 170. So together they are much less than Russia and of course less than USA. Global armed conflicts increased from 3 to 6. Okay, it also details the status of wars between different countries and which are the 6 war settings, starting from Russia, Ukraine, of course this current one, Israel, US and United States, then your Cambodia, Thailand, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and then Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda. So these are the 6 conflicts. I browse on the internet as per the SIPRI. So what are the disarmament mechanisms? Of course, we need to contain the growth in nuclear power if it's used for military purposes, and for that we have several agreements which are NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty. It said that we are not going to proliferate. It didn't say anything about banning or decomposing or destroying the nuclear stockpiles. It said whichever countries have so far up till date, nobody is going to escalate it further. Nobody is going to proliferate. We are not going to produce more stockpiles, but it was useless, as you all know. Then comprehensive test ban treaty. No nuclear test can be conducted because India conducted in 1973 and again in 1999, and India also received a huge backlash. Then TPNW is another agreement which prohibits nuclear weapon development, bans possession and stockpiling. See, Iran is the major target now because many countries believe that Iran is enriching its uranium so that it can become weapon grade, but it is not considered to be nuclear power. Now you tell me, if India is the in terms of arm imports, India is at number 2. Okay, which of the following countries is the world's largest arms importer? This question is for you. You can share the answer. I know the answer, but please try to answer. If you do not answer or unable to answer, browse on the internet. Not very difficult to guess. Next, hidden digital divide in India. So digital divide means, although you can see every human being, every Indian, whether you're traveling in the metro or in any public place, you can see a mobile phone in his or her hand, starting from a street vendor to a very rich shopkeeper, or you can say businessman. They all have smartphones, and we think that everyone is using the internet, but that is not the case. Although internet users in India have crossed, the number has crossed 1 billion in 2025. 1 billion, that means 100 crore. But there are many disparities or differences. Many people have cell phones. That stands for digitization of India. But how many Indians have a computer or a laptop? And we are saying that these many people are using the internet. What percentage of it is men and what is women? Then there is an urban-rural divide. So this report, it details the various fronts of divides, gender-based, region-based. Okay, let's take a look at that, and it's very important from the point of view of mains, GS paper 2 and 3 both, governance and economics also. NCR report highlights hidden digital divide in India. Internet users crossed 1 billion, and the report has been released by NCR, a body. It's a survey. Okay, it's not census. We are going to get better facts and figures once the census data is released. Okay, 95% households own mobiles. Households means one family or a lot of people staying together under one roof. That is one household. Okay, so 95% households own mobiles. Only 8% own computers and laptops. See the difference, the stark difference. Mobile only internet experience dominates. Many people, whoever is using the internet, is using through, majority of the people are using cell phones, because laptops and computers are expensive. Entertainment drives internet usage. There are various heads, this report. Okay, entertainment, social media, there are 2 separate heads. Although social media is being used for entertainment, then education. So if there are 100 people, close to 60+% of that are using for entertainment. Then 50 something for social media. You may say 60 and 50 don't add up to 100. Now those who are using for entertainment, they can also use social media for some other purpose. WhatsApp. Okay. Entertainment means YouTube videos. Social media means Twitter, WhatsApp, Facebook. Education. You know, either you are taking lectures from MOOC or you are using YouTube as your source of education. So this percentage is close to 11%, I guess. Highest is entertainment. Connectivity gap, internet penetration remains incomplete. 27.5 households remain offline in urban India. And as compared to 27.5% in urban India, in rural India 32.2% remain offline. That means maybe they are using cell phones, but only for calls. Okay, SIM based calls, not internet. Urban offline households at 17.2%. I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. This is about the total percentage, and this is urban. Urban is 17.2%. This much population remains offline. That means 83% people are using the internet. In rural India, it's almost double. 32.2% population remains offline. Gender gap, women internet users are 35% and men internet users at 57.6%. If there are 100 men, out of that 60 men are using the internet. If there are 100 women, then 35.6% are using the internet. What are the policy recommendations? Of course, see, accessing cell phone doesn't mean digital literacy. Sometimes you must have seen many senior people, they have cell phones but they don't know how to navigate from one app to other, or they don't know how to log into a particular website. That means they have access but they lack digital literacy, even if they are otherwise literate. So expand affordable broadband access, that is one of the primary reasons. Increase public Wi-Fi coverage. We are already using PM Vani, low cost Wi-Fi. Integrate digital literacy education. Okay, very important for senior citizens, those who are otherwise literate but not digitally literate. Strengthen school level digital skills. Expand assisted service centers. That means you can place a call and ask them how to use this or that. If you don't have anybody, Gen Z or other young people in your reach, so you can simply place a call and take their service. They will guide you how to use the device. Develop age friendly interfaces. User interface does matter a lot, okay, because we can easily navigate on a particular home page, but senior citizens may find it difficult to locate the clickable features. Last main news, which is 10 years of Pradhan Mantri Surakshit Matritva Abhiyan. So this Abhiyan is meant for antenatal care. That means pregnant women in their first or second trimesters. I hope you know that pregnancy is divided into 3 phases. First trimester, roughly the first 3 months, second and third. So this Yojana or this Abhiyan, that means mission, Pradhan Mantri Surakshit Matritva, that means Surakshit means safe and secure motherhood. Okay, antenatal services are provided, checking your blood pressure from time to time, measuring the fetal heart rate, and if there are any problems, you'll be informed. So many hospitals provide this service under National Health Mission. The broader mission is National Health Mission. Uske under, this is a submission. A submission, not submission, submission. Okay. So let's take a look at, it has completed 10 years, it was launched in 2016, how it has fared. And there are other schemes and incentives for supporting or promoting motherhood. About PMSMA, launched in 2016, implemented through National Health Mission, that is the main mission, as I said, ensures free antenatal health care for eligible women. Okay, because maternity, it's very important. It's not just important for the health of the mother but also for the child. Mental development, physical development, they're pre-decided. If the 9 months spent in the womb is not taken care of, many health hazards, many challenges can be faced. Okay, that is why the 9 months are well taken care of by the government through this particular Abhiyan. Target second trimester pregnant women, that means after 3 months, third trimester after 6 months. Prioritizes high risk pregnancies. If somebody is getting pregnant after the age of 30 or 32, so there is some risk, or maybe there are miscarriages in the past, so that means these are high risk pregnancies. They need more attention. Comprehensive care package, clinical examination by medical officers, blood investigation conducted. That also includes ultrasound, BP check, or other tests are also recommended to make sure that there are no chromosomal disorder in the fetus. इसको इंश्योर करने के लिए, ठीक है. Benefited over 7.50 crore women. You can try to memorize this line. There is no harm for your mains exam. Ki how various health schemes have affected the women of this country. That Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Matritva Abhiyan, through this particular submission, these many women have benefited. 75 million or 7.5 crore women. Expanded antenatal care coverage nationwide. Maternal mortality ratio has reduced to 87 as compared to, I think, 130 it was earlier, as per the last National Family Health Survey. Janani Suraksha Yojana, other initiative, Janani Suraksha Yojana, it promotes institutional deliveries. This one, Surakshit Matritva Yojana, is for antenatal care before birth. And this is for parturition, or how are you going to give birth to your child. Many people in villages have this taboo that they don't want to go to hospitals, okay, for different reasons. So this particular initiative, Janani Suraksha Yojana, it gives money to those women who go for institutional deliveries, especially in rural India, okay. Janani Shishu Suraksha Karyakram, this is meant for both the woman and the child. Then Poshan Abhiyan, that means nutrition given to the child as well as the mother. PMMY, that is another Vai Vandana Yojana, that is for maternity benefits, okay. If you're not working, then how to get maternity benefits. Lakshya is for, again, labor room quality. That means you have all the necessary equipments to make sure that whenever there is labor, the parturition takes place normally and in a secured manner. So that's it. Place in the news is Armenia, and the reason is not very necessary from the point of view of India. Some election took place and the current regime is going to come back. Okay. Now we're going to focus on this region because India is trying to put in a lot of effort to make an outreach to these Central Asian nations. Armenia and Azerbaijan, they're part of the previous USSR, Soviet Union. Okay. And geographically, as you can see, it's very close to Caspian and Black Sea, but it is landlocked. It's very close, okay, and its capital is Yerevan. That means it does not share border with Caspian, Mediterranean or Black. It is a landlocked country. It shares border with 4 countries, as you can see: Azerbaijan, Georgia, not Russia. Then you can see Turkey and Iran. Syria से नहीं मिला था, Iraq से भी नहीं मिला था. Okay, this is Armenia. The capital is Yerevan. 4 countries: Turkey, Georgia, Azerbaijan and Iran. Longest river is Aras River. Lake Sivan, you don't need to remember. Mount Ararat. This is important because the height is substantial, some 4.1 kilometer. If a question is asked, Mount Ararat kahan pe hai? Then it's Armenia. And this region is called South Caucasus. This is called North Caucasus. Caucasian is actually a term that denotes a particular race, and the origin is this particular region. Okay. Now let's go through the quick updates. Bloomberg Global Aggregate Bond Index. India badly wants to be part of this index because this index lists attractive investment destinations. कौन से country में हम पैसा निवेश कर सकते हैं? Okay. And India of course wants more dollar to enter our country, and that is also going to boost economic development. FDI ho ya FI ho. Okay. And all the attractive destinations are listed on this index, but India is not a part of this Bloomberg Global Aggregate Bond Index. India is putting in a lot of effort, but is not yet a part. For example, recent that tax exemption that has been given, capital gains tax. Recently, we have also trying to come up with a new framework for bilateral investment treaties. Okay, we are trying to tweak that 2016 model. That means we are doing so much to make India an attractive investment destination. You must have seen that there is capital flight. Many FI players, those who had put in money, they're taking back because of the Federal Reserve's higher rate and AI development taking place in those countries. Okay, India में कुछ हो नहीं रहे खास इसलिए. Stability of the rupee is important for foreign investors. This is also important. The most important thing that you need to know, in the mains exam you can use this point. I don't think there is any scope in this particular theme to be used in prelims exam. You can add this point in your mains answer if a question is related to India's investment sentiments or ecosystem, or how we can make sure that dollar inflow increases. India is putting an effort to be part of this index. Gallantry awards to armed forces and police personnel. In prelims exam, military awards and other military aspects of Indian military are being frequently asked. You need to memorize the terms and the types of gallantry awards. So the recent context is gallantry awards were presented by the President of India. All these prestigious awards are always awarded by the President of India. Also National Filmfare Awards. National Film Awards, not National Filmfare Awards, sorry. 51 personnel received awards for bravery and courage. There are 2 types of gallantry awards. One is peacetime and one is wartime. Peacetime means, for example, disaster rescue operation, when military personnel or police personnel or paramilitary forces, they can all be given peacetime. Wartime is mostly given to soldiers and military officers. When you are trying to attack an enemy and there are two countries at war, for example, India, Pakistan, where somebody showed some, courageous attitude or bravery, that is called gallantry. They are given wartime awards. The highest wartime award is Paramveer Chakra, PVC. Then comes Mahavir Chakra. Then comes Veer Chakra. Okay, and highest peacetime award is Ashoka Award. Ashok, then Shaurya, then your Kirti Chakra. Ashok Chakra, Shaurya Chakra, and Kirti Chakra. This you need to memorize. Paramveer, Mahavir is easy to memorize, but Ashok, Shaurya, and Kirti are important. So the Ashok, Kirti, and Shaurya. Shaurya is the last award. AKS. Okay, AKS. Next is H1B visa. As you know, this is a work permit that is given by US employers to foreign employment seekers or foreign employees. Okay, this is a work permit, and most of the H1B visa holders are Indians, nearly 72%. Nearly 72%. Then comes China, 12%, then other countries, Vietnam, Philippines, Bangladesh, other countries. Okay, so H1B visa fee people were supposed to pay, employers would have suffered. So that is why a US federal court struck down a proposal to impose $100,000, that means very close to 1 crore rupees, on certain H1B visa applications. The federal court said this is not allowed. H1B visa is a temporary work permit granted to employers in the US. Granted by, actually. See, there are different types of visas. For example, tourist visa is the most common visa. If you want to visit the US just for sightseeing, you can get a tourist visa. It's very easy. You have to apply for tourist visa. But in the H1B visa case, you don't have to apply. If you're seeking job abroad and if your employment is guaranteed, your employer is going to give you H1B visa. So the burden is on the employer. Okay, here you cannot just wishfully go and approach the concerned authority to help you get an H1B visa. That is in the case of tourist visa. The court termed the proposal unlawful. Indian professionals are major beneficiaries of the H1B program. As you know, the Trump administration has been slightly against, not slightly, much against immigration. Okay, anti-immigrants, especially illegal immigrants. But there is nothing illegal in this case. They just want to, this is just to do some cosmetic modification of the demography of the United States. Employers had expressed concerns over the proposed cost increases, and that would have discouraged many potential foreign, skilled foreign professionals, which would have ultimately hurt the US economy. Next, cleaning of Yamuna. As you know, Yamuna is one of the longest tributaries of river Ganga, and it is very polluted, especially the stretch between Haryana and Uttar Pradesh. Okay, when it comes from Yamunotri in Uttarakhand, that part is not polluted that much, although it's gradually increasing, the pollutants. But the stretch between Haryana, Delhi, maximum in Delhi, and then Uttar Pradesh, it's polluted. That's why 3 states have to intervene, Delhi, Haryana, and Uttar Pradesh, to review efforts to clean Yamuna river. Untreated sewage remains a major cause of pollution source. And about river Yamuna, as you know, it originates in India only, Yamunotri glacier in Uttarakhand, and its major tributaries are Tons and Chambal. There are many differences. Some say Tons is the longest tributary, some say Chambal, but I think the difference is between longest and largest. But these two are major tributaries of Yamuna, and Yamuna ultimately meets Ganga in Allahabad, Prayagraj. Okay, 1376 kilometers the length of river Yamuna. Chambal and Tons are major tributaries. That's it. If a question is asked, a question won't be asked about this particular step, but about the drainage basins. Okay, can you tell me which state has the highest drainage basin of river Yamuna? I am giving you 4 options. One is You can try to answer. Option A is your UP, option B is your Uttarakhand, option C is your say MP, and option D is Haryana. Which of the following states has the largest drainage basin for river Yamuna? Try to answer. I know the answer, but I won't. It's a very easy question. Not a very easy question. You have to think. Zojila tunnel, the tunnel that is going to link two North Indian UTs. One is Ladakh and the other is Jammu and Kashmir. So not yet operational, but the project is marching towards completion. It was in the news, because you need to blow proportion of the underground rocks to create tunnels. So it is in the news because successfully they had a blast that cleared up a very major chunk of the underground rocks. 13.1 kilometer horseshoe shaped, that means like this, there must be a lot of bent, okay, and it has 2 lanes, that means incoming and outgoing. Many few tunnels provide that, okay. They have separate tubes, but it's a single tubed tunnel between Baltal in Jammu Kashmir and Myanmar in Ladakh. It is situated at a height of 11,578 feet. That means close to I would say 4,000 meters easily, close to, above 3,000 meters, 3 kilometer ke upar, 3.5 also. Is the world's longest single tube bidirectional road tunnels. Bidirectional means coming, incoming and outgoing both. So Zojila tunnel is going to connect Ladakh with Jammu and Kashmir, precisely Baltal in J&K to Myanmar in Ladakh. Kabil is actually Khanij Videsh India Limited. It's a joint venture. There are 3 companies which have stakes and all the 3 are PSUs. They are NALCO. If a question is asked about Kabil, NALCO, National Aluminium Company, then Hindustan Copper Limited, then Mineral Exploration Corporation Limited, MECL, okay. And it was established in 2019. It's, as you can see, Videsh or Videsh means you're going to explore minerals and extract minerals abroad in resource rich countries. As you know, India needs lithium, the world needs lithium, but India is not resource rich when it comes to lithium. We don't have lithium, functional lithium reserves, okay. We have estimated reserves. That is why Kabil has acquired 5 lithium bearing mineral blocks in Argentina. We are not going to purchase from Argentina. We are involved in that extraction project. Some revenue will be shared with the government, of course, but this is much better than directly importing, just like we do from China, okay. As you know, that lithium triangle in South America consists of 3 countries, A, B, C, Argentina, Bolivia and Chile, okay. The blocks are located in Catamarca province in Argentina. Acquisition supports India's critical mineral security. ABPMY, okay, so Ayushman Bharat, Pradhan Mantri Arogya Yojana. All the states were covered under the Yojana, in which 5 lakh rupees is paid per family for secondary and tertiary healthcare. Only West Bengal was not covered. Now it has been covered. So 36 states. We have 28 states and 8 UTs. So 36 means the last. So as you know, this is a very important scheme, one of the best schemes run by the government of India. Nationwide coverage of the scheme has now been achieved. It was an MOU was signed between the National Health Authority and West Bengal. 5 lakh for eligible families. Okay, beneficiaries can access cashless treatment in impaneled hospitals. Those hospitals which are in the list list as regards this particular mission. Not every hospital is going to cover the expenses. Just like in health insurance, you have an impaneled list of hospitals or list of impaneled hospitals. Last is your Gyan Bharatam mission. The mission is run by Ministry of Culture. It focuses on procuring manuscripts written in different languages so that they can be stored for posterity, because many manuscripts, they are old and they can be easily destroyed. They're almost in a very easy to destroy condition. So they are going to be digitized and stored under this particular mission called Gyan Bharatam mission, which is run by the Ministry of Culture. Recently news mein isliye tha because 1 crore manuscripts have been mapped, that means scanned, and they also have developed easy to you use Control F feature to look for a word, to look up a particular term in Sanskrit or anything, any other old language, ancient languages. So mapping means they have been digitized and they are now, they have all the modern features in which a reader can easily explore the various facets of the text. So that is all about today's news today. Try to make the most of Visionized digital current affairs. And now 6 questions will flash on the screen. Do take them. Wish you all the very best.